Who are the best LRs in Dokkan Battle? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We are taking a look at the newest LRs added to Dokkan Battle, and we are going to be ranking them in our tier list. It's been a minute since our last updated tier list for LRs specifically, since Sand Day, actually. So it's going to be really fun to kind of talk about where we are in relation to the rankings for our new units, because a lot has changed since then. So before we jump into things, as a reminder, right, we do things a little bit differently on this channel rather than a true 1 through 10, as I don't believe that is accurate value of what the units can do. We go for a more tiered approach, as this really does strike as, you know, what units are valuable and where they can be valuable, right? Because especially in the current landscape we're in, where, you know, stages are constantly changing from month to month, this gives us a better view of the overall landscape of the characters we have at our disposal in Dokkan Battle. As always, when we do our rankings, right, we look at 3 major things, right? And that'll help determine what tier they're in: power, versatility, and consistency. When we look at power, we look at unit strength, and this can come in the form of attack or defense. This does mean that, you know, a unit could be so strong offensively or defensively that it might be worth considering not considering other factors, right? A great example of this is, for example, God Goku. From the 7th anniversary, the EZA Tech one. That unit was so insanely strong defensively for his time that it really didn't matter where else, what else he was doing in terms of versatility, because he was consistent in his job and his raw defensive power. So that's what we look at when we look at that. Versatility, we look at, you know, where can this unit be used, what types of events, what teams they have available to them. Units with greater versatility obviously will rank a little bit higher, but that's not always the case. It really depends on the role of the character, which brings us to our final factor: consistency. Whether the unit is versatile, whether it is an extreme powerhouse, the biggest factor for me is consistency. Is what they're doing good, and can they do it well, and can they do it consistently? So with that in mind, let's go ahead and start to hop in. We have 3 new units, 1 EZA and 2 new units. So let's actually drag that EZA up here, right? The EZA, Goku, and Piccolo. So we have the SDR Piccolo, the Goku and Piccolo, and the new God Vegeta. We may get more LRs as the celebration continues, and we'll add an updated tier list when that happens. But this is what we're working with for now. So in order to place these units, not only do we have to consider our 3 factors, but I think I need to lay out what stages I'm looking at for this, right? So first and foremost, we will talk about our available stages, right? So I'm looking at the 11th anniversary battles, both the GT and Tournament of Power editions, because they both provide good insights to the performance of a unit. I'm looking at the Daima Goku and Daima Vegeta special battle, same reasons. And then, of course, we're looking at the Cell Max and Bio Broly events here. Not too concerned with the Gammas, although it is a factor, right? Units that need time to build up definitely benefit from the Gammas fights, but I'm mostly concerned in terms of the Cell Max and the Bio Broly. I don't like those 2 events. They don't give a good showcase, but I think it is important to know, right, what the units are doing here, since these are our only 2 permanent stages. Otherwise, I'm also taking into consideration the current red zone, whatever that is with our ranking. So for now, that is the Jiren Xenoverse fight and the God Vegeta and Mira fights. I think those are all, those are decent challenges for units. The Supreme Magnificent Battle, GT Red Zone, and the Tournament of Power Supreme Magnificent Battle. These three are not full considerations, but it's worthy of note because we will get similar style events in the future, right? These were all sort of semi-long events. So it's just worth noting for the character that, if it's a long event character, they're going to benefit in a style of event like this. All right, let's go ahead and get to our ranking. Let's start with the Premium LR, STR Piccolo. Right, STR Piccolo does a lot of things. I know a lot of people felt he was very mid, but in terms of power, right? He is STR Piccolo is a standby nuke character. Now, what makes him different than most other standby nuke characters is that he is limited in that it's just straight up turn 4. He has no HP condition to activating his standby. And his standby, unlike, say, the GT Bomb Duo or the STR Family Kamehameha, he can actually still attack once he shifts into Piccolo. This creates a sort of negative feedback loop for a lot of people because he requires a ton of charges to deal big damage. Combined with the fact that on global, the bit limit still limits his damage considerably, because he needs, the more you build up, it's going to seem less impressive because it's taking longer, but that's more a result of the limit, which has been fixed on JP, by the way. But that said, right, because he is dealing damage within each turn as Goku, and it's roughly, depending on how many dupes, anywhere from, and how many SDR orbs you get, anywhere from, 70 to 80 million per attack on Goku, which is a lot. So you factor that into the amount of damage you're going to do with the special beam cannon at the end. It's pretty decently powerful when you factor it all together. The problem comes in with his consistency. So power, he's honestly pretty good. The problem comes in that consistency. That consistency and power is dependent on the orbs. It is dependent on how many STR orbs Goku gets and how many STR orbs you collect throughout your special beam cannon standby. The less orbs you get, the less powerful it's going to be. The less STR orbs you get within the turn, the less powerful Goku's going to be, and your overall damage is much, much lower. And that is a shame, right? The biggest issue to that is he kind of works well on the Saiyan Saga team, but the Saiyan Saga team does not have the orb changers a character like this needs. A character like this benefits very much on a highly versatile orb changing team, something akin to Power of Wishes back during the 8th anniversary. And he just doesn't have that access at the current moment. There are a few teams you can run to really push that, but you're lowering the overall effectiveness of the team as a whole to create that, unlike you would with, say, the Z Duo. And that is unfortunate. So he does lose some points for consistency. Same with versatility. Unfortunately, right? Like if we were to just, let's just pull him up here, right? Right, when we look at the team's versatility, right? Namekians, Worthy Rivals, Final Trump Card, All Out Struggle, Battle of Wits, Connected Hope, Earthbred Fighters, Successors, Protecting Heroes, Demonic Power, Saiyan Saga, Gifted Warriors, like none of these major teams have leads that are going to provide him the orbs he needs. Like the best he's got is Tech Vegito's team, which is only good in certain longer events. And that's just kind of what it is. I mean, you can run some of them in Daima Goku's team, but again, you're still limiting the overall effectiveness of what he needs. So, I mean, that he's definitely going to lose points on versatility here. So, given that, unfortunately, he is one of those characters. I think he's a lot better than some of the characters we have here in S tier. So we're just going to put him in S tier. He's not quite a Z tier level LR like some of the characters above him here in the Z tier, but he's not He's not as bad as some of those on the lower end of S tier, and he's definitely not A tier for me, right? If you want to see my explanation on the specific tiers, I definitely recommend checking out my previous tier list where I fully break that down, the tier list. But more or less, Z tier is a unit that can do it all in just about every event. And even if they can't, they are still pretty much viable, right? Like no matter what event you stick them in, they're going to be doing their job and they're going to be doing it well. Even if they're, they don't have to be a slot 1 capable unit plus a slot 2 unit. They don't have to be a major damage dealer. They just have to have a role and be consistent no matter what event that they're in, right? So that's what I look at in Z tier. And so that's pretty much every character here. S tier is the characters, right? They all have specific roles and functions for their teams. They aren't really limited by events, but more so that the teams that they're on. A tier are typically good units that are more meant for floating or supporting roles on their teams. B tier are units that are sort of what I call your 6th slot options, if you understand what I mean there. And then C and D tier are units that can have some, well, C tier more so, can have some niche use depending on the team, depending on the events. And then D tier are just, man, you really should have been better. That's kind of how I rank these. And it's all kind of based on those 3 categories. So with that said, let's move on to the easy A here, the Goku and Piccolo. The Goku and Piccolo, right, in terms of power, they've got it, right? Goku, not so much. You got to kind of stall till you can transform into the Piccolo here, right? So if we kind of just pull them up here, right? When we look at the Piccolo here, you're pretty much stuck with Goku, who's not doing a whole lot of damage, but what he is doing is he is stacking attack, which is really helpful on both his 18 and 12 key. You want to keep him in a situation where he can be slot 2 or slot 1 if the damage is high, if you're in a safe space. And, just keep stacking that attack until you are ready to shift into the Piccolo, which can be activated after the 4th turn if you're 50% or when you've received 7 or more attacks. Where Piccolo really starts to shine, or where Goku and Piccolo really start to shine, is when they become Piccolo and they start focusing on that special beam cannon. I'm talking with 3 stacks minimum, you're chucking out 100 mil attacks. That's like, he's insane, and it's so much fun to run him. However, right? So power, got it in the spades. Consistency, got it in spades, right? There's very few issues in keeping them doing what they need to do. It's literally just slot 2, stack, or, if you can push the slot 1 because you're not going to eat a super, and even then they can tank quite a few supers outside of Bio Broly, then, then they're going to, because they have that damage reduction, the Goku and Piccolo have that damage reduction pre-attacking. They're good. Consistency and power, they're good. But like the Piccolo, they sort of fail in the versatility mark. They just don't have as many teams, and that's really the big marker for me is and when we talk about versatility, it's the teams they have access to. When we look at the leads that he's got, right, you've got the Piccolo's lead, which is 200 lead. You've got Tech Vegito, which is a 220, and then you've got Saiyan Saga Vegeta, which is his only other 220. So like that's all you got for 220 is Saiyan Saga Vegeta. Combine that with the fact that they really want Saiyan Sagas to be next to them, or Earth Protecting Heroes, which can work. It's not enough. I mean, they really designed to help out the new LR, the LR Piccolo, by creating orbs for him. So there is that. But the reality is, right, they're just not as versatile as other units. And so I'm kind of stuck on this one because they are really good. In terms of raw power, they are much more powerful than some of the other characters on this list here. I would almost want to put them in S tier. But seeing as they are kind of, one trick, one team, I kind of feel like they got to go in A tier, but I think we'll keep them next to the Piccolo for now, because they are really good and they are much stronger than some of the other characters here. So I might just keep them there under the STR Piccolo, because they're not terrible by any means. It's just they are limited to that singular team. So it is a tough call. If you wanted to move them down to tier, I honestly wouldn't argue with you. but they're definitely probably somewhere between A or S. Now, so with that said, that brings us to the new God Vegeta. And this one's really interesting because he's got power, he's got consistency, he is very powerful. Once transformed, he's chucking out 90 to 100 mil attack stats, which are massively raising, right? Like if we just switch over here to the God Vegeta, he is, he's massively raising his attack with each one, which means like your 18 key can start off really powerful and it can get stronger when you hit that 12 key after a couple supers because of that 100% raise with each one, even though the multiplier is smaller. So it's actually really cool. He's really strong. On a full crossover setup, he's nearly untouchable. Like that's how good he is. Consistency, like he's pretty much doing that. As long as you have your Realm of Gods or your crossover, that's not what we want. There we go. As long as you have your crossover setup, right, he's nearly untouchable. And the best thing about his crossover setup is you can get every unit you need for a good crossover setup for him for free right now in the Baba shop. So I do think that does play a role for him here. Now, where things really start to be iffy with him is his versatility, because he does have to be on either crossover or Realm of Gods. Like, it's not a choice. You need a crossover or Realm of Gods ally in the turn with him. If you don't have that, you're going to be struggling. All right. And even better, like he is at his best when you have that crossover ally in the turn with him, because you're nullifying those negative effects. He's not going to be sealed. He's not going to be stunned. He's not going to be attack or defense lowered. So you again, it is a struggle, but it is what is best for him. And that kind of takes him down a peg for me in terms of versatility. So, but that's the thing. It's like, in his case, he has more access to leads. So as long as you can provide at least one of those allies for him, you're fine. He's got UI's team, which is really good. Although UI can't support him, there are other Realm of Gods characters who can support him. He's on their team. He's on his team. He's on Diamond Vegeta's team. Yeah, I mean, he's on, but that's a 200%. I mean, he's on a lot of these good 220s. And so that's almost why, like, I'm willing to give him a little bit more of an edge on versatility, because you really just need a unit attacking in the turn. And unless you really want to promote this, you just need, or not this one. It's when he's in his supervillain form. It's only unless you want this in his base form with the all crossover characters. So I can give him a pass on versatility for that. So with that in mind, I think he fits right up here in Z tier, which for me would kind of push him down. I don't like having too many units here in Z tier, but I mean, it's not like it's making him any worse. It's just aesthetically, I think he should, I don't want to have 2 minutes down here. So this is kind of where I would rank him. I think he is that good. I think he slides up here right with some of the most premium LRs from this year. He's up here with the likes of Majin Vegeta. He's up here with the likes of UI Goku, right? Diamond Goku. He's not bad by any means. And I think the people that are thinking he is probably are not using him on the setups that work best for him. I think is really what it comes down to. Again, this is how we like to do tier lists. I find it's a much better picture of how these units can perform when we look at it like this, right? Because again, our events are just different this year. Right? We're not stuck with 1, 2, or 3 events and we're analyzing that all year. No, throughout this year, right, we are looking at events that are shifting ever so slightly every month, right? Some units are rising in strength, right? While some are falling behind. Like even just with our list here, like for the for the Supreme Magnificent Battle, I would honestly move, we could have moved these two up and this guy up, because they were that valuable in that fight. And that's why I think this kind of list is important, because it really does show where we're at right now. So if we were to strictly look at what we're looking at with the Jiren fight alone, there's definitely quite a few units that would move up because of how that fight is structured, right? Like, for example, these guys would probably move up because of Deborah and Baby's team are really good in that fight. Same with these guys because the Hybrids team is really good in that fight. Because of the new Vegeta special, we would move this guy up a little bit while he is a one-trick pony. He makes this guy and Daima Vegeta work so well in that fight. With the new Android setup combined with Mira, I would move this guy up to probably B tier because he works really well in that fight. And that's what I mean. Like I said, hybrids move up, they get to jump back into B tier, Z tier, but also because of Majin Vegeta, right? With the Supreme Magnificent battle before, right? This is what the style of events is doing to tier lists. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. I like the fluctuation here. I think it does really tell a good story here about what these units are capable of. And as they shift out the months, right, we get to see units rise and fall in both popularity and viability. So guys, that is it for our video. That is our current LR tier list, right? Popping Vegeta up in the Z tier, but we knew that was coming. We knew they weren't going to hold back on the long-awaited God Vegeta and Xenoverse crossover. So, guys, that's it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know how would you rank these units? Do you like our style of tier list here? I personally enjoy doing it this way. I think it's a really fun way to analyze the units. I think it gives us a better picture than 1 through 10s. But if you prefer that, let us know in the comments down below what type of tier list you prefer. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.